Imagine this. You buy your dream house, and someone is already watching you. A quiet street, trimmed lawns, perfect suburban calm. Derek and Maria saved for years so they could finally move here. They found the one, a beautiful, spacious home with big windows. The address looked ordinary, 657 Boulevard. Nothing suspicious. On the day they signed the papers, they laughed and talked about renovations. In their minds, it was a fresh start, comfort, stability, a normal life. They hadn't even moved in yet. Contractors were still working inside when the first envelope appeared in the mailbox. No return address, no sender name, just a simple note to the new owners. Maria felt a strange chill before she even opened it. The paper was thick, almost official, but the handwriting felt wrong, tense, unfamiliar. The first line made Derek freeze. "Welcome to your new home." Then it got worse. "I have been called the Watcher." The letter spoke as if the house belonged to the writer, and Derek and Maria were only temporary guests. "I have watched this house for years, and now it is your turn." The room went quiet, like the air before a storm. Even the ticking of the clock sounded louder. Maria read the lines again, not believing this was real. The writer described the house like someone who walked through it at night. "I see what you are doing. I see when you come and go." And then the final blow. "Your children will be here, won't they?" They didn't have children in that house, not yet, but someone was already talking about them. Derek crushed the paper in his fist, anger mixing with fear. They told themselves it had to be a joke, a sick prank, maybe a neighbor, but when they reached the last lines, they understood one thing clearly. This was only the beginning. They didn't sleep that night. Every creak sounded like a footstep. Every shadow in the hallway felt like someone standing just out of sight. By morning, Derek and Maria decided this wasn't a joke. It was evidence. They sealed the letter in a clear folder, washed their hands, and drove straight to the police. The detective listened without much reaction, then asked the same chilling question twice. "Who knows you bought the house?" They didn't have a good answer. He told them to document everything, change their routines, and tell as few people as possible. But the neighborhood already seemed to know. People stared a little too long. Cars slowed down in front of 657 Boulevard. Friendly smiles felt rehearsed, like everyone was acting. Then the second letter arrived. Same plain envelope, same cold confidence. This time it mentioned the renovations, the contractors, the noise, the changes, details a stranger shouldn't know. Maria's stomach dropped. The writer spoke like the house belonged to them, like Derek and Maria were intruders disturbing something sacred. That night, Derek replaced the locks and installed cameras. He checked every window twice, then checked them again. Maria sat on the edge of the couch with her phone in both hands, listening to the silence. Days passed and the fear didn't fade, it sharpened. Every trip to the mailbox felt like walking into a trap. Every knock at the door made their hearts jump. And then the third letter came. The tone was impatient now, almost angry. It hinted that it knew their routines, their timing, like it was watching them live. The detective told them they needed suspects, so Derek and Maria started looking at everyone. The neighbor who never waved, the couple who watched from their porch, the stranger walking a dog too slowly past their driveway. In a place this quiet, anyone could be the watcher, and the worst part was simple. Whoever it was, they were close enough to see everything.
The detective told them the letters weren't enough for an arrest, so Derek and Maria did the worst thing. They started searching for a face. They questioned the contractors. No one admitted anything, but one worker quietly said he felt watched, like someone stood behind the curtains. That night, Derek walked the perimeter, staring at neighboring windows and counting all the places a person could hide and still see the front door. Maria tried to act normal, but every slow car outside made her stomach twist. Derek installed brighter lights and aimed cameras at the driveway, the porch, the mailbox, the street. He thought it would calm them down. Instead, it made the fear sharper, because now they were waiting to catch something. Then the motion alerts started, random pings at hours when no one should be moving. Derek would rush to the screen, expecting a face, a shadow, anything. Most of the time it was nothing, a branch, a bug, a shift of light. But it kept happening, like the house was breathing. Then another envelope arrived, and Maria didn't even want to touch it. The tone was colder now, less like a greeting, more like a warning. It mentioned their habits again, their timing, the lights going out. Derek's anger flared because it meant the watcher wasn't a stranger passing by. Someone was close enough to observe them for hours. So they began asking questions they hated asking, looking at every neighbor with new eyes. Behind every friendly wave, they imagined someone smiling because they knew something Derek and Maria didn't. At night, Maria sat where she could see every doorway. Derek replayed camera clips until his eyes burned. The house that was supposed to be their future had become a test of endurance, and the letters kept proving one terrifying thing. Whoever was writing them was already close. They tried to keep living, but the house wouldn't let them. The cameras became a nightly ritual, Derek scanning footage frame by frame, Maria watching his face for any sign he'd finally seen something. The police checked what they could, but every lead dissolved into guesses and assumptions. The neighbors denied everything. Some acted offended, others acted too calm, and that somehow felt worse. One day, the detective suggested the obvious truth they didn't want to hear. The watcher might be someone who blends in perfectly, someone who looks normal in daylight, someone who could stand beside you at the mailbox and still feel invisible. Derek and Maria started noticing patterns, when certain porch lights turned on, when certain curtains moved, when a car parked a little too close for a little too long. None of it was proof, but fear doesn't need proof to grow. Then another letter arrived, and it felt more personal than the others. It referenced conversations they'd had inside the house, things they swore they'd never said out loud in public. Maria's hands shook as she read it. Derek didn't even sit down. He paced like his body was trying to outrun the words. The letter didn't scream. It didn't threaten directly. It simply reminded them that privacy was gone, that the house had ears. After that, the home stopped feeling like property and started feeling like a trap. Maria avoided the windows. Derek kept the blinds half closed even during the day. Every time the mailbox lid clicked, they flinched. Every time the phone buzzed, they expected another warning. And slowly, the most dangerous thing happened. They began turning on each other. Derek wanted to fight, to stay, to prove they couldn't be driven out. Maria wanted distance, safety, an exit. The arguments were quiet at first, then sharper, then filled with exhausted silence. Because the watcher didn't need to break the door. The watcher only had to wait.
By this point, Derek and Maria weren't living in a home. They were living in a case file. Every morning started with the same question. Who was doing this, and how did they always know? They met the detective again, spreading envelopes and timestamps across his desk, but he warned them with the truth they hated. Obsession is hard to stop when the person never shows their face. Outside the station, strangers stared like their nightmare was entertainment. Online, people argued, mocked, and accused, turning fear into a debate. At home, the pressure cracked everything. Derek grew sharper and angrier, trying to control what couldn't be controlled. Maria grew quieter, exhausted, scanning windows and listening to silence like it had a voice. Then another envelope appeared, clean, plain, confident, as if to prove distance meant nothing. Derek stood at the mailbox with the paper in his hand, jaw clenched, while the street looked perfectly normal behind him. They went back to the police again and got the same result. No suspect, no proof, no end. That night, the decision became unavoidable. They began packing. Boxes filled the living room. Tape ripped and snapped like gunfire in the quiet. Derek gripped his keys like a weapon. Maria folded their life into cardboard as fast as her hands could move. The moving truck arrived in daylight, but it still didn't feel safe. As they carried boxes out, Maria kept glancing back at the house as if it might be watching through its own windows. Derek refused to look for long. When they finally left, the house went quiet, but it didn't feel like relief. It felt like a pause, because deep down they knew one terrifying thing. Leaving might not end it. It might only change the address. Even after they moved, the fear followed them. The new place was smaller and temporary, but Derek and Maria treated it like a bunker. Locks, curtains, cameras, everything again. They told themselves the nightmare belonged to 657 Boulevard. For a few days, nothing happened, and that silence felt suspicious. Then the motion alerts started, late-night pings that dragged Derek out of sleep. He would check the footage and see nothing, but his stomach still dropped. Maria checked the locks twice, then 3 times, listening to the house like it could speak. And then a new envelope appeared, here, plain, clean, no return address. Maria didn't want to touch it. Derek's hands shook as he held it, because it meant the watcher didn't love the house. The watcher loved them. They went back to the detective with the letter, and he had no answers. The investigation dragged on. Leads collapsed. The case stayed open, but the truth stayed hidden. Meanwhile, the old house found new owners. Lights turned on in different rooms. Life looked normal, until letters started arriving again, as if the house didn't care who lived there, as long as someone did. Years passed with no confession, no arrest, no final reveal. Only documents, copies, and the same question: who was close enough to watch and patient enough to wait? Because the scariest part wasn't what the letters said, it was what they proved. Someone was there, someone knew, and somewhere behind an ordinary face, the watcher was still watching.